Hey, all you fans out there, this is Matt, one of the two dudes from Gallifrey for Voices from the Vortex.
And this is Taylor. How's it going, everybody?
Woo!
Woo! Exciting times in the Vortex.
Yeah.
Exciting times. We are so close.
This is like a special edition Vortex, because you're probably all going to be listening to this Friday, like the day before. So tomorrow should be like the 50th.
Yep. This is, we're going to call this episode 7. It's our 7th.
And
just kind of fun episode.
Our very first cast member has been cast for episode 7. It is R2-D2. So. Wait.
No.
I take it back. Okay.
Take it back?
Okay. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's not Doctor Who.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Hi. So,
K9, there you go.
K9's been cast. We've actually, the reason we're doing this, because even though you're going to get one like tomorrow, some stuff happened between the last time we did one of these and now, which was only like 3 days.
Yeah, so, we knew this prequel was coming out, and we thought, well, if they do it, maybe we'll get it if we have time.
Well, no, it was the trailer.
The trailer had come out,
right.
So we made one.
Right.
So we did an episode. Then
prequel.
We were like, well, the prequel will come out, but they'll probably release it like the day before. We won't have time. And even if we'll just talk about it then. No. We have to talk about this now.
Well, and I even thought not to do one of these. I thought, we'll just do it, when the 50th comes out. We can hold off. But then immediately after the prequel was a clip. It's just like, come on, guys. Okay, fine. Let's talk about it. I'm sorry.
Let's talk about it. So we don't have to waste time on our 50th coverage. We're going to talk about these now. Okay, so there's been a lot of stuff going around. We'll save the prequel for the end. So let's talk about a couple of the other things.
Yeah.
So we got the clip. A couple of clips, actually. There's a little small one I saw, too. It has got David Tennant in it, which is pretty funny. Not much to talk about there, but he's, like, running through the woods.
There is something to talk about there, though, because he drops a time frame for us.
Oh, you're right. Yes, he does.
So
he says he's 904.
Right. So the clip, that little clip, he's running through the forest, and he sees a bunny. And he starts going off on the bunny, his I'm the Doctor. I'm 904 years old. I'm from the planet Gallifrey and the Casturbian Nebula. I can't even do it. But he's just like, it's his whole shtick. And just as he's doing it, and you're just a bunny, aren't you? He's just like, okay. But he told
great
that bunny.
Stuff. I'm glad because we haven't really gotten to see a lot of Tennant stuff in these clips.
Right.
It's just him, facial expressions and, a witty one-liner, But this is, a big scene we're getting to see. Well, it's not a big scene, but it's a big line of his. Right. So it's good to see that kind of stuff from Tennant because I missed some of that,
We all miss some of that.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. But we do get that time frame there, though. We do get the 904, which he says he's 900 and something in Voyage of the Damned. And
903.
903. And then in
End of Time Part 2, he's
End of Time.
906.
Yeah, 906. So it's between there. And we kind of knew this already because Queen Elizabeth is in this, and
he makes reference to her at the End of Time Part 1, yeah.
Yeah, right at the end. So it's what he does on his little farewell tour, right after Waters of Mars. So we kind of knew that already, but this really qualifies it. Really, puts it in right.
Yes, it qualifies
what we were
well.
Thinking. Yeah.
This gives us a bit of a timeline on, what part of where that is. Which is
really interesting because, if you think about it, it's like he just saw that ood in the snow,
but he ran for a long time, though.
He ran for about 2 years. He ran around and did stuff. So,
but see, here's something that's interesting. I thought, he's running, and we've seen from the trailer, we've seen that one little line where he says, you know, I, for once in my life, I'd like to know what's coming. And Smith responds, no, you really don't. So if this is right at the end, if this is just before, you know, he ends up showing up, you know, for the end of time, part 1, then this, for him, this really is, like, this is the end, you know?
Yeah.
And Smith will know that. That's a very important thing, I think.
Well, and another interesting thing, too, is he, you know, he's all afraid that he's going to die.
Right.
And so he sees 11 here, and he obviously knows it's him from the
screwdriver.
From the screwdriver and the trailers and everything. It seems like he knows that it's a future version of him.
Well,
so if he meets him, he's like, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna die. I'll be all right." But this is where that thing comes in, where it's like, well, you know, are they going to forget at the end of this, or what's going to happen?
Here's something else, too. And one of the trailers that they have out there for is one in another country. And there's a line in there that Rose delivers. Again, I don't think it's Rose. I swear. I think it's the TARDIS. But Rose says, now that we can change things now that there's 3 of you. So maybe originally it was the War Doctor. And then Tennant experiences it again when he's there. So maybe Smith was never there before. But then Smith says, I remember this, almost. I kind of remember this.
Yeah.
You know, I think I remember this. So maybe his involvement, you know, isn't necessarily set in stone. Maybe this isn't a fixed point for him, for Smith.
Well, and let's get to the other clip.
Yeah.
Because in that clip, he says, oh, of course, this is where I come in.
That's a good point, actually.
So maybe it is, not, I don't know if it's set in stone, but he knows that he kind of like, he sees that little vortex thing appear, and he's like, oh, not now, you know, I'm busy.
He knows that
he knows that he has to go, which I want to know what the heck is up with that. That's really interesting. The thing just appears.
Right, out of nowhere.
Yeah. So it's a scene, he's walking through this art gallery with Clara, and he puts on the fez. And they show him a picture, and this is where it'll be cool in the theater where the 3D will come in, because you can kind of see it just in the video, but it would be even cooler when you're in the theater with the glasses on and everything. The picture is kind of 3D. It looks like a window more than a picture. And there's some glass, and it's been broken from the inside, and there was something in the picture, and now it's not. I'm going to go
Clara
on a limb
even
here.
says 3D effect, doesn't she?
Yeah, she goes, 3D again. So maybe there's some other pictures that they're going to see that are 3D too. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the Zygons are escaping from pictures
That
somehow.
would make sense.
Yeah, and they're coming out from the inside, and the reason no one's like noticing anything out of the ordinary is because they'll disguise themselves as like the guard or something, and then escape and get out.
Okay, so has anyone else noticed in the clip with both the doctors sitting down and propping up their feet, there are 2 Kate Stewarts there?
Yeah, there's two blonde-headed women who are
sounds like
probably
one
Kate
of them.
Stewart. Yeah,
one of them might be a Zygon.
Yeah,
interesting.
And another interesting thing about that clip is there's a countdown timer going on in the background.
Interesting. Oh,
yeah. So it's like they're
one of
I
them's
can
going
just
to
see
blow
that
something
scene.
up.
They're waiting them out. They're like, which one of you is a Zygon? We're gonna wait here until you speak. Who cares about that? And they're looking at
That's funny.
the timer, like, oh no. Okay, I'll talk. Or I don't know. Okay, I'll talk. I don't know how they talk. So
the Zygons.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, Doctor, you've defeated me again. Oh my.
Oh bother.
Oh bother. Oh, back to the 100-acre woods.
Okay, so they're looking at this painting, and the glass is shattered from the inside, which is the interesting thing. And then all of a sudden, this little like vortex thing appears, like, in the corner of the room.
Mm-hmm.
And he's all like, oh, no, not now. You know, I'm busy. And he goes, of course. This is where I come in.
Right, and he throws
the fez in. and then he says, Geronimo, and jumps in.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he just leaves Clara there with Kate. And then he falls into the woods where David Tennant is. I'm assuming with Liz. I think she was in the background or something, maybe. And he like puts the fez on, and they stare at each other. And that was it. And that was for children in need. That clip. So
yeah, it was good.
It was kind of cool that they did that, because usually they do they write some new thing, you know. But this was like, we'll go ahead and show you a clip from the
good. Well,
show.
I like that. That was
yeah,
was
I do too.
We needed something like that. It's just so secretive. It's, you know.
Well, and of course, it's like, as soon as they get to the two of them face to face, like that's when it ends. It's like, no, you got to the best part.
That's, from that point out, I don't want to not watch. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I would like to point out a couple other things too. In some of the trailers and stuff, we've seen Hurt's doctor is there as well. You know, all three of them in the woods, and a bunch of pikemen, I guess, attacking them. I'm really...
They're in the new TARDIS at some point.
At some point, in Smith's TARDIS, and
they're all in that like weird lighted shed with Rose.
Right. And now I will say, well, interesting. Yeah, they're in like a boxed in lighted like lit shed. Wouldn't that be interesting if that was the War Doctor's TARDIS?
Oh, that would be interesting.
But in the promotional pictures, you see in that shed, the other two TARDISes are parked next to each other.
Oh yeah, so
they've released some promotional pictures, and that's something that you see is both of the TARDISes together. Indeed.
Interesting. That would be an interesting desktop theme for a TARDIS. It's like, give me the barn theme.
Barn theme.
This is more like it.
This is where I like to relax. Hey, look over there. It's a cow.
It's like a robot cow, like K9.
That's not.
Moo.
I'm a cow. Moo. It's not a cow. It's a Zygon. Moo. I'm a cow. Don't look at me.
Curses, you got me again.
Curses, Doctor. Something else I've
How
noticed.
do you know? Yeah.
In some of these, so apparently foreign countries are getting this version of this trailer that have like a little bit more than we've seen here. But one of the things I've seen in these trailers is the words "no more" written, which we saw.
We saw that in the 50th trailer with all the doctors in it.
Yep. It was written,
and we didn't know what that meant.
Right. But no one knew where it was from. However,
if we're ready to talk about it now...
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my god, that prequel.
Oh my god,
Holy
that prequel.
crap. Okay, first of all, I was totally shocked. Like, I did not see it coming at all.
Right?
And we talked about this last week, and I will quote you, "Methinks they doth protest too much." Oh my god. Paul McGann.
Well,
ladies and gentlemen,
they just spent too much time saying, no, there's not going to be there's not going to be another, and then prequel, Paul McGann's Doctor.
Paul McGann, 8th Doctor.
Oh, it's brilliant.
And not only that, we get the regeneration.
Finally.
Except
it's not finally.
Except it's not. We'll talk about that.
They successfully gave us the regeneration we're looking for, only to leave us with, we still need another damn regeneration.
Exactly, yes.
Why?
And I swear to God, as that was going, I thought, I don't know why, but because it was young John Hurt at the end. Right. Like in the reflection. I swear to God, I was like, oh my God, it's 9! Like, I swear, I thought it was 9 for a second. I was like, young hands, oh my God, it's 9! And then it wasn't. And I was like, oh God.
You're such an Eccleston fan.
I know. Well, here's the thing. It's not that I'm a huge Eccleston fan.
Right.
I do love Eccleston. I'm a huge, like, callback and continuity fan. Right. And I feel like Eccleston is the only one where it's like he doesn't want to, or well, he says he doesn't want to, or it's just like he had such a short time on there, and he's part of the new. He's like
he's the
only one
the
from
most.
he's the only one from the new Who that's like
it's like screw it, not doing it.
They're not going back to.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I would really love to see him because I think it'd be great. And now, especially since we have an 8 to War Doctor,
8 to 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's like upgrading Windows.
Yeah, there you go. I would love to have an 8.5 to 9 regeneration, and have Eccleston come back for that. I think that would be brilliant. Fantastic.
You're fantastic. I'm going to get once again. I'm going to put this back out there. A lot of the material that led up to New Who, a lot of the stuff that one day we'll talk about, the Cartmel plan. A lot of it had to do with talking about the moment. Not that they mentioned the moment, but that they mentioned a weapon which would remove things from time and space. And it's interesting to me that, again, sealing off the Time War, this is my predictions, this is my opinion, but sealing off the Time War, maybe the moment with this weapon allows the War Doctor to, contain and eliminate this threat, but the Time Lords of the Daleks, but it actually has to take him with it. Maybe he has to be what's removed from time and space. Maybe that's why he doesn't count.
Yeah.
His entire life is just erased.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Moffat said, no, I'm not going to mess with the regenerations. And it's like, well, technically he did.
Oh, he is.
But he came out with this interview, this whole thing, and said, well, here's the thing. It's not about the number of... He's still the same being, but he doesn't call himself the Doctor.
But that's not the point.
So Eccleston's still the 9th Doctor because he goes back to being the Doctor.
Yes.
And he says the thing that he said was staring us in the face was the Metacrisis Doctor. That's technically the 11th Doctor, but we don't talk about that because.
But that's not.
It's not
but see,
right.
This is all Moffat just blowing out his ass because that's not the 11th Doctor. That's a clone of the Doctor. That has nothing to do with his regenerations. It is a completely separate individual being. It's not even the same man. It's you can clone a person, but that other person doesn't get to be you. It's a clone of you. It's science fiction trope 101 of clones. So he's not the 11th Doctor. He's a clone of the 10th. He's a completely separate individual. And
well, from my understanding, he was the Doctor. 10-2 was the Doctor, but like from the point when the hand was cut off, you know what I mean?
Right. And so
like from then on, so the memories that he had from
9 and before,
beginning of season 2 up to the end of season 4, that stuff he hadn't had that in his brain yet.
Right, and that's
but everything before that.
But it's still not. It's not the Doctor. I don't care how you want to paint it. It's not the Doctor.
I wouldn't call him the Doctor. No.
It's no. I wouldn't call him Doctor No either. He's never fought James Bond.
Shut up. You know what I mean.
But my point is,
you get to your point.
You got to stop leaving openings for me. You really do. No, my point is, it's not the Doctor. Same thing. Like, okay, he says, well, he goes back to being the Doctor after the War Doctor, so the 9th Doctor is still the 9th Doctor. But that's not what the regeneration limit is about. Time Lords regenerate so many times. That's what was established.
That's another point.
It doesn't matter what the hell they call themselves. They regenerate 12 times. And
well, he made a point. He made a point in the name of the Doctor to call Matt Smith the 11th Doctor. Clara says, I saw all 11 faces. You're the 11th Doctor. She made a point of saying this.
Right.
So, so the numbers are still the same in that respect because it's what he...
The Doctor...
It's what he calls himself.
Yes,
it's what
but not the regeneration limit.
Yeah. But, yes, the regeneration limit is something else that will need to be.
So now
discussed.
there's something else though. If you remember, kind of scale back a little bit when Davies was writing the Sarah Jane Adventures, and he writes the two-parter with Matt Smith, The Death of the Doctor, in which the Doctor, the kids had met the previous Doctor with the wedding of Sarah Jane. So when they meet Matt Smith's Doctor, the one kid asks him, how'd you do that? He says, oh, Time Lords can do that. The kid says, well, how many times can you change your face like that? And he says, like 572 or something. Some ridiculous number. And to what I understand is that's sort of putting in there an idea that regeneration is sort of twofold. There's the, I'm about to die and need to completely regenerate my body to survive, which is what the limit is, versus the, I'm going to change my appearance.
Right.
It's possible Hurt.
They made 2 change his appearance, so that's like he wasn't. You know what I mean?
Right. So I mean,
there's an extra one there.
But it could also have been they were forcing a full regeneration from 2. That might not have been just we're changing your face. That could have been we're forcing regeneration on you. Maybe Hurt's Doctor can change his face.
That's interesting.
Maybe Hurt uses his regeneration energy to change who he is, what he looks like, because he wants to be a different person, which gives Eccleston's Doctor even more depth, because Eccleston then is Hurt. They're both the same man. In more so the sense that the Doctors are all the same man, that they would be the same man, the same Doctor.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because Eccleston isn't really... He is the Doctor, but he's not... He doesn't seem like he's over the war. He doesn't seem like a man who would say, okay, I'll be the Doctor again.
And he's
you know
much
what I mean?
more a warrior in those first 6 episodes.
He is. I would think that he would have to be less... It's almost like, well, I've regenerated. I guess I'll go back to being the Doctor. It's like, no. You had to have changed who you were.
Right.
And your attitude. And he's still kind of, in the episode Dalek, he's just nuts.
Right.
That kind of...
Look at what he does with Cassandra. He's willing...
Right.
He plays along. He plays along until he gets to the end and he just says, screw it. Everything dies. And that's the War Doctor feeling. That's that
right.
bitter
that's
and
a
cold.
Really good point.
So what if Hurt really is 9? What if the War Doctor is 9? And he goes through his life and is just embittered by war, and he's removed the name of the Doctor completely until he does this thing at the end to solve it. That's his way of saying, it's an act of contrition. I can end this war, one final terrible act, and I'll change who I look like, change who I am, and become the Doctor again. But he's still running, and he meets Rose. And Rose kind of pulls him back, and as he tries to be the Doctor again, he keeps faltering, keeps failing, with Cassandra, and with the nesting consciousness, and with, the Slitheen. And finally you get to Dalek, and he's just like, this, I can't let this go on. This is the one thing I've ever done to become the Doctor again, and it's still here. And when he lets that go, that's when he becomes the Doctor again.
Nice. I like that.
Conversely...
here's another theory, actually. I have one, too.
It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the Doctor, since the Time Lords are dead, and the power of regeneration stems from the powers of Rassilon, which were all imbued in special items on Gallifrey, the Doctor can just regenerate indefinitely.
Right, and also it could be that the regeneration rule is just a rule set by the Time Lords to prevent someone from becoming too powerful, you know what I mean?
Right.
And living too long. So...
Well, and that's actually...
Now that they're not there, the rule cannot be imposed anymore.
There's a really good point, actually, you just made there, and it's...
Why, thank you.
You're welcome.
Why, thank you. I'm still on Hartnell, but haha.
Such wisdom.
Yes.
All the stuff we have that actually gives us those rules comes from Tom Baker. Comes from Baker's Doctor when he goes to Gallifrey. And, regeneration up until that point has a couple of things, but it's really not until you get to... it's not until you get to Baker that it's said where he's speaking with an archiver, a Time Lord, and the Deadly Assassin, and they're saying, well, the regeneration rule of 12, that the Time Lord can only regenerate 12 times, and all this this mythos of Gallifrey starts getting laid down there. And what I find interesting is what if it's possible? What if it's possible that you're right, that it's not just mythos. It's not just who we are as Time Lords.
It's not biological.
Right. What if this is like the Time Lords say you only get so many, that somehow they're controlling it with the Staff of Rassilon or the Seal of Rassilon or, whatever. the coronet.
Something else of Rassilon.
There's an actual coronet of Rassilon, like a crown. Let's be honest here. They were really, really into pageantry.
Well, you've seen the hats.
And I've seen Colin Baker in his Technicolor Dreamcoat. And let me just say, I've seen the hats. Maybe they were using some sort of technology to limit it, so that way the Time Lords can never become too powerful. Which even gives... Keep in mind, they could grant people a new regeneration cycle. They do that in the Five Doctors with the Master. They say, we'll give you a brand new new set of regeneration if you help find the Doctor and rescue him. So they could grant that. So maybe it is that regeneration's limit is based on the will of Gallifrey and the will of the Time Lords. And if Gallifrey's gone, if the Time Lords are gone, maybe there no longer is a regeneration.
The rule, yeah. Another interesting theory that some people had is, and let's go back to the prequel, is McGann, the 8th Doctor dies in this. And the Sisterhood of Karn, or the planet of Karn, the Sisterhood of the Keepers of the Flame of utter boredom, he says. When she says, "Oh, eternal life," he goes, "That's the one." They give him basically give him this elixir that will. He's only got 4 minutes to live. They've kind of brought him back to life for 4 minutes.
Right.
He drinks this potion. It'll kickstart his regeneration cycle, and also he gets to choose who he is. I thought that was really interesting.
Right.
That they got to choose, and so he chooses. He says, "Make me a warrior." And then the whole thing, Doctor No More, which is the No More.
Right.
Talking about. The theory there is, and I actually like this theory. Part of this theory, I don't like the whole thing, because I like mine better. But that the regeneration that gives him, that starts him over. Since technically he died, they brought him back to life. He gets to start over with 12 new ones. Right. The other thing that I think is really interesting is this is technically the first regeneration that we see that is the gold light coming from his hands.
That is true.
And his shirt and everything. Mm-hmm. So because of this is the reason that he regenerates that way every time. Of course, this is knocked down by the fact that the Master also regenerated this way, and so did Riversong. Well,
Riversong's easily explainable. That whatever's going on with the Doctor is linked to the TARDIS. Mm-hmm. Riversong was born from the TARDIS. If the Time Lords are gone, and the Doctor is the only thing in existence which has regeneration powers, and Riversong is born of the TARDIS, then perhaps Riversong would have the same regeneration powers as the Doctor. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Or it just looks really, really cool when a Time Lord baby goes...
Exactly, yes.
Like,
explodes from all her limbs. Yeah, but the Master, that's kind of a hard one.
He just really doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
And he only regenerates the one time. Mind you.
Yeah.
So did he really have all new regenerations, or did the Time Lords bring him back with maybe the capacity for one regeneration?
Mm-hmm. Or, well, see, I don't know much about it. I think I read something that the Sisterhood of that Karn, the planet of Karn, was like a part. It wasn't on Gallifrey, but it was like in the system of Gallifrey. So it was like a religious order, like near Gallifrey, that was like kind of part of the society.
Right.
So maybe when they brought the way they brought the Master back to fight in the Time War, that, you know, that's part of, you know, that's, maybe they used that sort of same whatever.
Maybe they did. Maybe
That's
the
why he
Sisters of
regenerates that
Karn
way.
were drawn into the war when the Doctor went. Suddenly the Doctor shows up in the war and he's fighting, and maybe he demonstrates that he has powers that the Sisters of Karn were the only ones who could create, and then suddenly Rassilon says, aha, I want those powers for all of me.
For me.
For Rassilon.
So, well, the Sisterhood of Karn, that was a really interesting thing. And especially, and 8 was really great. I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet. So I really get to see him.
I thought you saw the movie.
No, I have not yet. I've yet to watch it.
So good.
I know. I really want to. I've heard a little bit of the audio stuff. Like I've listened to a few things.
Sure.
So I've heard him speak. You know, but I thought it was great. I would love to see him some more.
I would too.
And who knows? He could be in this. He could be in it too. You know what I mean? They could flash back to something.
They should flash back to him in one of his audio adventures.
There you go.
And they just like show a still picture on the screen.
Yeah.
Like it's a Family Guy joke.
Speaking of his audio adventures, there's one thing here that a lot of people on the blog were really excited about, is that what this little prequel does is this officially makes all the Big Finish stories canon, because he mentions all of his companions.
Almost as if they did that just to canonize all of his audio adventures. He just lists them off for no apparent reason.
You know, so sort of as a tribute. But yeah, it was almost just to do that. And so now all those are canon, which is pretty cool, because a lot of people out there are really into those, and for them to be part of the whole story is pretty neat.
I agree.
The other thing I thought was interesting about that was the Doctor wasn't fighting in the war. He was he tells them, you know, I won't fight. You know, I help where I can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he was trying to help that girl not crash.
Right.
And
well, she was apparently close to Gallifrey. If she crashed on the planet of the Sisters of Karn.
Yeah, she did. And there's that whole thing, you know, where she realizes that he's a Time Lord, and she's like, you know, get away from me.
Yeah.
That whole thing, you know. She's like, well, I'm not a Dalek. She's like,
thing.
who can tell the difference anymore?
Yeah.
That whole, and so it's like,
sad
yeah, okay.
that the Time Lords had come to that.
And they did, and we saw that, you know, we saw that in the End of Time.
We saw what they had become, yeah, but don't get me wrong, the Time Lords aren't like the nicest people in the world.
No,
but
I mean, even for some of the old stuff I've seen,
they're dicks.
They are dicks. They're kind of, I mean, they're kind of jerks about stuff, and but by the end of time, you know, during the Time War, they became even more, because, you know, again, Rassilon, that jerk.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So.
Well, you know, and
so what Moffat did with this prequel is he painted a really nice picture for us.
He's bridging a lot of stuff,
which is great. Yeah. I'm so happy that he did that.
For all the crap that we give him for not holding on to continuity, he's finally bridging so much stuff.
He grabbed continuity by the nuts and said, "Get over here!
Come here!"
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Not only did he bring in the 8th Doctor, he gave us the regeneration scene we needed. He gave us the answer to who John Hurt is. And this is just a prequel for the 50th, people. Yeah. We haven't even seen the 50th yet. Okay? My prediction is that there will be a lot more people. I think everybody lied.
Yeah.
I think there will be a lot more people in this that said they weren't involved. No.
Yes.
So yeah.
Well,
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey, listen, all you fans out there, we appreciate you listening to this special podcast about the prequel and all the stuff that's coming up. If this actually goes up on Friday, tomorrow. Listen, we're going to have a special one, as you know, the night, hopefully the day after, but we're going to record the night of the special, so we can talk about what we saw and about what's coming.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, man, it's going to be exciting.
It'll probably be the most candid, because usually we have a few days before we get to it.
You know, this is going to be like
so we get to think about it for
our first thoughts on the
initial
subject.
Reactions, yeah.
Yeah. So
it'll be pretty exciting. And then we go get to see it in the movie theater.
Oh, yes. I only wish we could
live from the theater. It's voices from the. Everyone's like, "Shut up back there."
it's Waldorf and Statler.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, those supposed to be the same man? I don't know, but they got the same. I don't even know.
Yeah,
that joke went nowhere. Hold on, take two.
I wish I could go back in time and never have watched this.
Makes about as much sense as anything he says.
Let's see. Let me see if there's anything else I can think of. There was a short little clip that was pretty cool. I just want to mention it.
Yeah.
Neat. Clara just like comes into the TARDIS on a motorcycle, like super sweet.
Why wouldn't she?
Yeah, I mean that is awesome.
I love Clara.
Yeah, I do too. I think she has become, I think, my new favorite companion.
And we've only seen her for like 8 episodes.
I know. So
we don't even get a full freaking season with her yet.
I don't know what it is about her.
She has such chemistry with Matt Smith. It makes
she really does.
It makes it so sad that Smith is leaving.
Yeah, but from what they've told us, she's got real good chemistry with Capaldi too. So it'll be good. And I think the chemistry will change to a less of a flirty, and it'll be more of a grandfathery. I think it'll go back to its roots a little bit. It'll be like,
it could still be kind of flirty. I don't know.
It'll be like First Doctor and Susan kind of thing. I think, or even First Doctor and any of his like female companions that he had instantly became like
the father,
grandfather type.
Figure.
Yeah, so I think that'll be kind of sweet. Yeah. You want to answer some fan questions?
Yeah, let's answer some fan questions.
All right, let me see. Again, these are still from B. Schmitterer because he sent me a whole bunch of them. So let's see. Fan questions. Okay. Do you think Donna gets the saddest send-off? The answer is, oh my god, yes. I cannot even watch that without tearing up a little bit. That I don't know why, but Donna's ending is just so heartbreaking to me. It's rough to watch.
Yeah, because every other companion gets sort of a positive ending. Even Amy and Rory, who end up back in time, can never see their best friend again. Even they get to live out their lives together.
Rose gets even before Doomsday, it was like, or even before Journey's End, where she got the clone, a clone of her own. She was still, she had her family and everything, and she wasn't like all alone or dead or anything.
It was sadder for the Doctor,
right?
He was just left alone with a crazy woman in a dress.
Exactly.
With Donna.
Yeah. And so and Martha,
she went on to be with her fiance, and then she went on to be a doctor, and then she went on to work for Torchwood, and then she went on apparently to marry Mickey. So I mean, yeah, she had a good ending. Captain Jack had a good ending.
But Donna,
yeah,
I mean she got to marry somebody, but it was like she wasn't the Donna we know. She was was
back to
back to her,
old self.
yeah, back to before she ever knew any of this fantastic stuff. And it's really just the scene, you know, and it's really hard to watch too, even when she's like trying to do the funny part of that scene.
Yeah,
where her brain's kind of overloading.
It's hard. Yeah,
and you're like, the hardest part I think of that scene is the doctor's face.
Yeah,
it's like he knows that this is going to be a problem. Like as soon as it happens, he knows it's going to be a problem.
Right.
And it's like as soon as after they drop off Rose, he's standing there with her, and he's asking her questions.
I will say, probably more sad than all of that was the way Adric went up. He never got to find out if he was right.
No, he never knew.
So sad.
I'm sorry. You showed it to me. You showed me the scene, and it is very sad. I mean, the guy dies, but
no. Dying is like you have a heart attack or you get hit by a bus. This kid was on a spaceship and he was thrown into the earth and killed the dinosaurs. That's not dying. That's being like a Looney Tune.
You might as well have fallen off a cliff with an anvil.
I almost wanted a slide whistle at the end. as it's flying.
And it's like...
wah, 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 wah. I think somebody desperately needs to actually like do that as a fan video.
No, seriously, yes.
I want to see that with those.
Somebody please redub a Doctor Who episode with cartoon sound effects.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. All right, last question. Scariest episode?
All right, I'm gonna go with.
It's a hard one.
You know what?
I have a few.
From the most recent season. Hide her in the house. Hide.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a scary ending, but that's an episode that kept me at the edge of my seat the entire time.
There were a lot of moments in there, like a lot of startling moments that they put in there, where the lightning would flash and you'd see the ghost, or
the thing, yeah.
I mean, it was deliberately trying to scare you as you watched it,
and it did.
And it was really creepy. I'm gonna go with. It's a tough one. Blink is really good. It's really scary.
Blink is great, but you know, Blink is
it's more fun, I think.
Yeah, and Blink is suspenseful.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it's scary. Waters of Mars was really scary.
Oh my God, Waters of Mars is scary, and the one I was going to say is Midnight.
Midnight, yeah, that one.
Midnight is like one of the scariest episodes. Not so much scary as it is just like nerve-wracking. It's just it drives you insane as you watch it. You don't know
what you're doing or what's going on.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on. You never do get to find out what happened. She's repeating the whole time, so it's just like this. It's this echo that just drives you nuts as you watch it, and it's
like watching,
and it's scary. Yeah, it's
like watching
really
Abby's
creepy.
Flying Fairy School. Sesame Street. The same thing over and over again.
And over and over.
Okay. My kid loves it.
I'm sure. We're not to Sesame Street yet.
Dude, just...
We're still on Yo Gabba Gabba.
Trust me, so much better than Yo Gabba Gabba.
I don't know.
Even Elmo's World is better than...
Elmo's World is pretty good.
Okay, I've got a question from a fan.
Okay, shoot.
From C. Whiteheart of St. Louis, Missouri. He asks, if you had to ask the doctor, or if you could ask the doctor a question, any question, what would it be?
What is your name? No.
I'd presumably get whatever the answer is, of course.
Yes. That's a good question. Okay, so assuming he's real.
Right.
And this all happens all the time. Everything that has happened in the show has happened for real.
Right.
Oh, God, I don't know.
Okay, I've got one.
I only get one question.
If I could ask one question, it would be, if you could go back excluding the Time War, if you could go back before the Time War to any moment and choose something different, what would you choose?
Oh,
I think that'd be fun.
That's a hard question for him to answer,
right?
I mean, think of how many companions he's lost. What he could have.
You want an easy question? Hey Doc, what's your favorite color?
Yeah. Some color we've never
He'd
heard
be
of.
like,
Gallifrey.
I love Schnifnu. What's that? Oh, it's a color that you can only see with your nostrils. From the planet of coloring.
And yes, exactly. The planet of Crayola.
Of Cray-Ole.
Ole. Let's see if I could ask him any question. I mean, I don't really care what his freaking name is. It's not important to me. It's Quincy Hitler. Let's see.
Quincy Hitler? Who?
Exactly. Gosh, if I could ask him anything, I would ask him if he ever changes his clothes, or if he just has if he has a bunch of outfits,
right?
Or if he has the one that he washes all the time. Which one is it? I'd like to know.
I sincerely hope the answer is some technobabble, including nano jeans.
That's right. I'm not actually wearing clothes at all. It's just an illusion.
Time Lord
it's
science.
A hologram. Yes, I'm naked right now. Okay,
the TARDIS projects it.
Yes.
You see whatever you want to see.
Filter. It's the TARDIS's indecency filter.
Little known little known fact about the Time Lords of Gallifrey: they started the FCC.
Total prudes.
Complete and utter prudes. Well, the British.
I saw a really good idea online today. It was somebody said, "I wish there was an episode where the TARDIS is translation matrix breaks, so the Doctor's speaking in Gallifreyan the whole time.
Nice.
And then he has to talk to his companions. He has to talk in this really bad accent, for the whole episode.
Ooh, wait a minute. That couldn't work. Ask me why. Because River even says it to Amy in The Good Man Goes to War. Gallifreyan doesn't translate.
Ah.
Bam. You've just been hooed.
or nerded. I don't know which.
That was a nerd out. I'm sorry.
You've been nerded. I also read that there's an episode where, an audio book where one of his companions says all these weird words instead of curse words.
Yeah.
And the Doctor says it's oh, that's the TARDIS's a cursing filter or something, translating it to flippin' and a bunch of other stuff. Which makes you wonder if Donna in Donna in Unicorn and the Wasps, where she's it's flippin' enormous. Wonder if she said something else.
Yes.
Yes, she did. If we know Donna.
We know Donna. You can make up your own word in your mind, ladies and gentlemen, but you all know what she said.
Fill in the blank.
Fill in the blanks.
Oh, well.
Good times.
I think, yeah.
Hey, you've been patient, all of you out there. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening. We really appreciate all the followers and everybody who loves our show. So.
We are, truthfully...
It's fun to do.
It is. We are honestly very, very sorry. I mean, grateful that you were listening to us.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you. We will see you all
Friday, tomorrow.
After the 50th. We will see you. And there's going to be a lot of stuttering and screaming.
A little bit of crying.
We're not going to be sure what to say.
I'm enough of a man, I could say that. There's going to I might tear up. I might just scream out profanities to both Stephen Moffat and God. Be prepared.
I will have. I will be prepared.
Good.
I will put on the indecency filter.
Good. Flippin' Moffat!
All right, you guys.
Hey.
Thanks for listening. We will see you all later.
This is the dudes from Gallifrey here in the Vortex saying, remember, don't be a fool. Stay out of the time war.
Yes. Time War's for chumps.
Time war is for chumps. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.